Bonjour, Kinamagian in Ireland Adishnikas, and welcome to this overview of our Week 30 learning plan and announcements. As is custom, we'll begin this episode in our stream page. And this is found within the Google Classroom that all students have access to using your @sagchipschool.net email address. You can sit down with them to access this as well. It always starts out with a quick way to contact me. And I appreciate those who send text messages and emails whenever you have a comment, question, or concern. We have this week's newsletter, which we'll be going over momentarily. I have posted April's breakfast and lunch menus for when we return from spring break. And then we also have the Scholastic Book Fair link. Scholastic Book Fair will, and you can see a post here for one of the materials that went home, the guide, is going to be April 7th through the 14th. So once we return from spring break, I would encourage students to purchase a new favorite book. I will post a link to this within our email that'll send you this information. It's also found within the newsletter. One of the things that's mentioned in the newsletter is that I encourage students to keep active if you're not traveling during the break and when you're not otherwise spending time with family, because that's very important as well. But if a student gets bored for a little bit, it's not a bad idea to read for 20 minutes a day and or spend a little bit of time on some of our online resources. And just as a reminder of how to get to those resources, if they go to the classwork tab within our Google Classroom, scroll down past the announcements where you'll see this video posted, the 5th grade Padlet. Click there. I know it says learn from home because that's where you can use it, but we also use it in the classroom. And here is a decent sized collection of the materials we use. Students can get to reading A to Z, and my teacher name is right there, M Ireland 1, and they all have accounts. You can practice with ST Math, as we're trying to see who can get the furthest, or if anyone can get all 100% by the end of May. Khan Academy is a good resource. Prodigy is a student favorite, because it's kind of more like gameplay. Some things with multiplication, times tables, some math games. Right here, we also have Digital ReadWorks, a link to our tribal library. Epic. Reading A to Z will be the most useful one there. We also have some social studies links. We have the current chapter, we have mystery science they can look at, some geography, some online games in that area. We'll see a lot of those coming within our web time during the 4th quarter. Technology, students love code.org. Nothing wrong with spending some time on that over break. We have some of our other tech choices. We have a link to the Ojibwe's People Dictionary and some more practice under Room Recess, Map Skills, Duolingo. Duolingo is a pretty popular one for some. It's a language app. You do not have to use the pay version. I actually use the app version on my iPhone to practice language every day. But these are all things that students can use. If you have a question over a login information, send me a message. I will be traveling, so it may take a few minutes or a few hours to respond, but I will respond as quickly as I can. I will check my email during break. All right, let's go into our actual newsletter, and that's right here. This is also posted, like I said, in the stream on the stream page of the Google Classroom. Spring break is next week, as mentioned. March 28th to April 1st. We'll return on April 4th. And then the notice about using our resources. It mentions the Scholastic Book Fair that we've already talked about. We have this week's student tip. The period of time that follows spring break through almost the end of the year is a challenging portion of the school year. We're starting to get a little bit of that spring fever, and it's been a long school year, and frankly, some students are getting a little tired, but this is the part where it's very important. There's a lot of learning to be done in the 4th quarter to help our students all be prepared as best as possible for the return, well, to go to middle school. And it may be helpful at home to set goals with your student regarding the remaining portion. You might set some academic goals to earn more threes on the report card, maybe social skills to learn how to, better mesh with some of your classmates, cultural knowledge, that's self-explanatory, and even how to organize yourself so that when you get into that middle school experience where you're changing classes, that it's not overwhelming. And we'll be talking about these things within the school day as well. Masking in the classroom does continue at this time. All students and staff are required to wear face masks while at school. You'll notice that mine was off when we started the video. That's only because I am the only person in the building. While you're outdoors, students, however, are not required to wear masks. Stay tuned for further updates on the masking policy. So what we'll be learning when we come out of spring break, we'll be beginning measurement, and then actually after that, it'll be geometry. We will spend a lot of time reviewing our previous skills from this year, making sure that we have them mastered, and even looking forward to some of the sixth grade skills. So once we get probably into May, it will look interesting when you look at our learning plan, like, well, what are we studying today? But my goal is to have everybody as ready as possible to walk into a sixth grade classroom and be very successful. And you see some of the resources that we use. I strongly encourage students to pick up some flashcards. Math Pack Fluency will benefit them. They can multiply and divide, or even add and subtract automatically without having to take time to do it. Think about it. I strongly recommend it. In language arts, we're going to be wrapping up our scientific nonfiction section when we come out of break. You'll see a lot of reading in class. We're continuing to help get them ready to be successful. We'll probably do some version of projects related to reading. And then in writing, we're going to continue with right steps and words their way for spelling. Students who may be a smidge behind on spelling and words their way can actually access this over the break. It's never too late to work on those skills. In social studies, we're going to continue with the Revolutionary War. We'll be reviewing civics and geography, and we use the U.S. citizenship test as kind of the basis of our civics. We'll go through pretty much the month of April and give them the assessment and see how they do. Geography will be kind of a highlight too during the fourth quarter. In science, we're continuing with mystery science. We'll be moving to a new unit on chemical reactions. In fact, tomorrow is the last day of the current unit on Spaceship Earth, and some of our students have already taken the assessment. Electronics, as a reminder, we want all students to keep them in their locker, or actually not keep them in the locker, put them in the front office. We previously kept them in their locker, or kept them with Mr. Ireland. We've tweaked that a little bit to have them in the office. And then you see some vocabulary on Sugar Bush. I hope everyone has a safe and enjoyable spring break. If you're traveling, have safe travels. If you're hanging around here in Central Michigan, hope it's relaxing. Time to decompress, recharge for the stretch run of our school year. Hope somebody is going to the place over my shoulder because it looks really nice on this cold and rainy morning. I hope everyone has a Minwa, Pamapi.